yeah, well, we didn't have some of our main players, yada, 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 yada. Not going to hear that when, you send Waneri out on loan. You got 8 players in the summer. You ran certain players into the ground over and over and over again. We could have told you that they were going to break down and not be ready for April. Norgard has gotten no playing time. MLS has gotten no playing time. So you have quality players that you haven't really utilized. So ain't nobody trying to hear any of that. So nobody told y'all to go out there and get Madueke, who has 3 goals all season. So I don't know. No, I don't trust him. That's the long and the short. And again, they were playing around at the beginning of the year, and it was waved away as you're just being negative, but it's like we really needed like a legitimate 10-point gap.
We needed to do what Liverpool done last year, like just run away with it.
Yeah, because if we didn't, we see what's happening. We see that they just don't have it in April. We needed to be in a position where we could drop points in April, but it wouldn't really matter. We'd still be 6 points clear, 7 points clear. We didn't do that. So.
And this is why I'm so critical of. I think everybody can understand as a football fan, yeah, and speaking for our club, we can't win them all. You will drop points, all of that kind of stuff. But I hate when people come out with this kind of Mighty Ducks kind of courageous nonsense where you thought it was going to be easy, you thought it was going to be this, that, and the other. No, that's the whole point of why when we've got opportunities to make some distance and make some ground, you've got to go and do that. Now, as I said, people, we will get onto Manchester City. I do think the performance, away from the result, the performance was there against City. Unfortunately, football's a results-driven business, and we are in results-driven season. And I think that performance and certain elements in the first half that I did like, it's come too little too late. Unfortunately, I think Jess is bang on the money. Like, we've ran players into the ground. You've had more options than you could ever count, but you've shown really no flexibility. We've dropped stupid points. Again, I would say if I was to forgive all of this, the League Cup final, first final in 6 years, shat the bed. Performance against Bournemouth wasn't there. And unfortunately, Arteta, I can give you that praise of you have rebuilt the club. You have made us competitive and all of those things. But you show an inability to get over the line. It feels like you have to be forced to change things. As I said with the City game, I did like, beyond the obvious, the approach. And if I'm really being harsh, the second half, I can get pissed off with Arteta. But people can tell me about the players and all of these kind of things. As just alluded to, we came into the season saying, all right, we're pissed off from last year, but cool. This year, we have to deliver a trophy. You've got 4 opportunities. We rate you as a gaffer. We rate the team. The gloves are kind of off. And we've crumbled at the end. Like, we've been ticking over like this, gone down a level. City have got their act together. You have to strike, in my opinion, when the enemy's weak, innit? And we've had several opportunities. And this is why, when people want to sit there and you're losing games in the first half of seasons, Jess, and they sit there and say, oh, but we've got a lot of games. We've got this, we've got that. You're not wrong. But it does make you get back into ideal scenario syndrome. We could have beat Manchester City at our place, apologies. We could have beaten or got a point out of Liverpool in the 2 games there, 15 minutes away from not beating Sunderland away from home, a minute away from getting a point at Aston Villa. I've actually disregarded it, but Forest away, there's many other points that had we have taken anything from 3 all the way to probably statistically 12 points, where would we be? But unfortunately, that's the same kind of rhetoric that we said this season, the season before, and the season before that. And, I'll tell you, you've been here 6-7 years, innit? I will kind of discount the initial years because we weren't where we wanted to be. Big you up for that. I'll even give you the luxury of 2022, 23, even though I think other teams would have seized that and got it done. I'll even give you that. But the last 3 years, it's been abysmal, if I'm completely honest. It doesn't matter if we lead the table or the chasers, there's issues. And kind of what Jess said there, recruitment, bro. Like, let's not beat around the bush. I'm not trying to make it about Kai Havertz or Noni Madueke, but you spent 100 million quid on them. We're still debating, is it Kai Havertz or Gyökeres up front? Noni's not grabbing goals. The attack, there's more questions than answers. As Jess also said, whether it's Norgard, whether it's Miles Lewis-Skelly, whether it's Nwaneri, whether it's changing certain things, you've not changed anything in midfield. And I don't feel, listen, every team and every manager, they're going to have a central way of playing. They're going to have a central system. But I think there's an inability to be flexible. It feels like you have to be forced to kind of do that. Even the whole trade-off of Eze on the left-hand side against City. But if nothing changes, nothing changes. We want to get to a realm that we haven't been before. So Mikel Arteta and the players have to be something they've never been. And that's not the case, man, if I'm honest. And I have to ask you just as well. As I said, I've got a bit of questions here, Could the manager get more out of this squad?
Yeah, I think so. I think that there was a point in time with this team a while ago where I thought he was overcoaching. Like, and when I mean overcoaching, I mean like he was coaching, like he squeezed all the juice out of the lemon.
A
Like this was
hundred percent.
as much as he could do, and they looked really good. Like I think he made a team that wasn't maybe was missing a couple of things look so much better because the coaching was so good. And I would view that team as maybe not necessarily super less talented, but it definitely didn't have as many tools in its toolbox.
A hundred
Now,
percent.
I feel like there's so many players where they're not in form, they're not scoring, they don't even look anywhere near the players that they were before or the players that they were when they came from other clubs. So I do think that he is not getting an anywhere near what he could be getting out of this group. I don't think we have to be the perfect team to win the league. I just think we have to be better than everyone else.
And stop shooting
And
ourselves in the fucking feet.
yeah, every year we go back and we're like, yeah, but we need this, we need to buy this, we need to buy this. With this exact group, had just been able to coach that attack a little bit better and not use, I don't know if he does this on purpose, but it feels like he uses results-based analysis. If we're winning, he thinks we're doing fine, regardless of the underlying metrics or the eye test telling you that we're stinking it up. If he had just taken some time to make sure that we're creating a little bit more chances, maybe the attackers are having a little bit more fun so that they can start scoring goals. We can look a little bit more fluid and not double down, triple down on a style that was always inevitably going to crack, then maybe we'd be in a better position. I know these players have limitations, but everybody has players that have limitations. It's
They're
so,
human.
yeah, unless you have PSG right now, or you have Bayern, or even maybe to a certain extent Real Madrid, you have quite a few players in your team that have physical and or technical limitations. So I'm not trying to hear, oh, but we didn't have
Right.
this, we didn't have that. Arteta was as
No, they
long
can't
as
say that
those.
because when we came in, sorry to cut you just, but
No, go
people
ahead.
said, oh, we got all this depth. Our second choice 11 can get top four. It can
Yeah.
compete on all four fronts, in which, cool, we haven't got to finals yet. But at the end of the day, you was a step away in the FA Cup from Wembley. You got to a League Cup final. You're still technically in the Premier League race and you're in another semi. So it's all on the gaffer. Obviously, the players have to take responsibility, but I make just right, folks.
Yeah, I just don't see why this team, let's take away the league for a second, cannot have won a single trophy in 6 seasons with a Billy spent, let's say close to a Billy spent. You know, I don't see why. Um, and then to me, it just comes down to coaching. I think at a certain point, he was coaching these attackers into better positions, and he was coaching an attack that could score goals at will, and making a group of Gabriel Jesus, Saka, and Martinelli look like the best in the world. And he had two really good center backs and a good midfield, and somehow he's kind of like unraveled that, and it's just like a bunch of pieces of things that kind of work but don't work. And as long as we had our set pieces and we were defending for our lives, we were good, but then it fell apart. So yeah, and I'm like, the set pieces, a big part of our season was
Dried
due
up.
to another person. So what the fuck have you been doing?
No,
Like,
you're
what
right
have you
because
been doing?
everything's dried up. Just like again, I've been saying this. I've called it earlier. I said defensively, I don't think we're as compact. We're still good defensively, but not to those levels. As just has said, and everyone with eyes can see. While we score a lot of goals, it's another year where we say we know we're gonna get goals, but who's gonna get them? We're not that in. We're not that in the final third. Midfield's a bit shaky, and that's just kind of said it there. Yeah, that's what annoys me because in the 2022-23 season, for whatever reason, you show me you have an ability to coach and attack. You saw it with Sane and Sterling at Manchester City. I've seen some of our players have their best goal scoring output seasons here. So you can do that. But that's neither here nor there. If you're going to play this negative football or this street smart football, then it has to pay dividends. You have to get over the line. And for whatever reason, it is now out of your hand, in which people indirectly are going to check out. We're always going to support Arsenal, but you have shot yourselves in the foot. And then people want to gaslight and say, oh, just get behind the boys, just do this, just do that. 100% we're behind them, but that sounds great. That's copium to me, man. It's jarring.
It is copium. I'm just like, I get it that people want to hear other people say
Even comments
that
like this.
we have it. Like, yeah, and I'm like, I get that. I understand that we could still win it. But I just don't think that we're going to be able to basically win all of our games and outscore City. Because that's basically what you're asking. It's no longer in our hands. If they outscore us and win all their games, because it's level, then they win the league. And we're not really scoring goals right now. Like,
We need to just focus on winning full stop.
yeah, we have to play Newcastle, a traditional bogey team for us that has really nothing going on, but you don't have to have anything going on to do something to us. They would love to be able to take just a couple points off of us or to end our title hopes, So it's not looking good. And I don't think you can blame people for feeling some type of way. They've won one game in April? Like, it should never have come down to this. It should have never come down to this. It shouldn't. But for City to still have felt like they had a chance when we were 9 points clear tells you everything about what they think about us. If Liverpool had been 9 points ahead of City, City would have felt like it's probably over. If they don't care how many points we're ahead, they know that we have this in us. So, and we also know we have this in us. So, yeah, they can. But am I really like motivated by watching Rice crumble to the ground saying it's not over, it's not over? Like, not really.
You just want the 3 points, bro. Like,
Yeah,
that's the point
like,
I'm at now.
no, not really. So yeah, it is what it is, but ultimately, like, it's not even like, you can't even say if they really want it, they will, because it's out of their hands now. Yeah, so now we're hoping that City don't score a lot of goals. Like, I don't know. We can't
I'm not
barely
even
score
hoping
goals
for that, Jess.
ourselves.
I'm not even
Yeah.
hoping for that. I can't lie. I'm not even watching the goal difference and all of that. Of course,
Yeah, it's
I
like,
would.
oh, well,
Yeah,
Newcastle aren't as good this season as blah, 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 blah. Like, we made hard work of Wolves. We lost to
twice.
Southampton. Yeah. You don't have to be good to get anything off of us. You just have to, because what we especially like last 2 seasons, why there's been so few games in which we've just whooped teams, especially this season. We always drop our level right below the team that we're playing. Right below. However they're playing, we're gonna go just right below them. And if we do end up getting something, it's because we just have maybe a little bit more quality or we've scammed it with a set piece. We drop our levels right below. So if Wolves are playing, we're gonna play just around the way that Wolves are playing.
And when that happened at the Emirates, we didn't take heed of it away from home. So I don't need to remind
Yeah.
everyone being 2 goals up and seeing the job through.
Yeah, I've never seen an Arsenal team like this. Usually, in the past, like Arsenal, they have their bogey teams. They have teams that they just are just better than them, but they can slap the small teams. Like, we've always been able to do that. It's like if we come up against a shit side, we can bop them, but that's even gone. It's life or death. Like last season, it was life or death with Leicester. We went life or death with Leicester twice. So there's no slapping dudes anymore. So it's tough. Every game feels like life or death. I don't know where that's come from, but that's got to go away. You got to have somebody you could slap.
Well, it's gone. It's too late now. Every game is going to be sink or swim. Again, we'll get onto it, but the performance I feel was positive, definitely almost positive after the international break against City, in it. But at the same time, that was away from home. Unfortunately, the last time we was at the Emirates, we played Bournemouth. Now, obviously, there's going to be nerves. God forbid you go a goal down. We know that City have obviously beat Burnley. What is that going to look like at the Emirates Stadium? So,
Yeah.
like, it is what it is. Me personally, I'm not even watching goal difference and paying attention to that personally because I don't think it makes sense. I feel I can barely string array where Arsenal are going to win games. So I can't be talking about winning games 3-4, whatever, nil.
Yeah.
Newcastle need to get 3 points as well. So let's just try. Let's just try go on a winning run. We got 5 games, 7 including the champs. Just win the games. Pray to God City drop points. Unfortunately, if we don't, questions have to be asked. Like, it's tired, man.
Let me ask you this question because this came up like I know it's like on Men in Blazers and Tyler Adams was on there and he was talking about how they could feel the nervousness in the Emirates from the fans and also like when the players are playing out from the back. And that's kind of like when you look at Arsenal, everything is about, not being adventurous and not taking any risks. But it does feel like we're always willing to take the biggest risk in front of our goal but we don't take any risk in front of theirs. Where is that coming from? Like, what is your temperature on that? Because it's like we've been playing weird at the back for a while now, where Raya's on the ball a lot and they're making mistakes. Why don't we change that up? Like, is Arteta just not seeing it? Like, I don't get him. Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't get it. Get it off the goalkeeper's toe.
It's weird, Jess, man, because I do think there's a bit of nerves. I do think there's nerves because when people start making, because I think all season we've been conceding cheap goals, and
Yeah.
I started going heavy on that Manchester City at home because everyone looks at it as some courageous where we snatched the point, but we fell off. So I do think there's an element of that. It was obviously there against Bournemouth. Technically, it was there against City. It's been their kind of thing. It's by design, isn't it? Like it's by design. We take obviously you got to go from one end to the other end, yeah. But clearly we take more risk in our half and the middle third than the final third. That's why there's an emphasis on Raya holding on to the ball to drag people. That's why we're so big on Rice not playing in the six because he can't consistently turn on the ball like a Zubimendi. Maybe not so much now because Calafiori and Timber have been injured. But I remember sitting there and talking to you, and we was looking at the graph how Timber and Calafiori they've got the most touches in the up box and all of that kind of jazz. It's by design. Like Arteta, and I know it's easy for me to say, yeah, but you couldn't have come into this season, not having a system that's going to get the best out of your attackers. It was one thing signing Eze, signing Gyökeres. We all know Gyökeres has limitations. No one can convince me just that you slap that man in a couple of other Premier League sides, you'll still see the same clumsy striker. He will get a lot more goals. Eze is probably taking us too late for us to kind of bed him in. And then obviously you look at people with Zubimendi, obviously Zubi's season's on the floor, innit? That man, people are saying that man can't pass the ball forward. I'm sorry, but that is on the system. Like, really, really, really. And everyone goes and looks at the Spain games and says, what happened to this Zubi? You're right. Maybe a lot of it is confidence. But when Zubimendi's got the ball for Spain, there's several options forward. Because that's the one thing I give these players, yeah. When I see Raya, Saliba, Gabriel, and they're on the ball and there's nothing in front of you, you're going to try force it and give the ball away. Or you're going to go down the left, you're going to go down the right. Whether it's breaking down low blocks, mid blocks, compact defenses, getting the best out of our attackers, taking risks, as you said earlier, in the final third. We didn't learn none of this season. Like, none of this. We knew what we needed to do going into it. We haven't discovered none of this shit is new, if I'm honest. And that's actually a question I want to throw back at you. Like, do you think you've learned anything new about this football club, or specifically the gaffer and the boys?
I think nothing new, but I think there's been, if they do go through this season trophyless, let me just say that, then there'll be some things that are just set in stone for me personally when it comes to this team and this coach. And that would just be they don't have it. They can talk all day long about wanting to do this and wanting to do that. But ultimately, when I watch them play, I just do not see a team that's they can want it, but they're not prepared to do what it takes. I'll say that, because I want a lot of shit in life, but I'm not prepared to do what it would take to get it. So I can want a lot of things from my couch and they can want a lot of things from that pitch, but that doesn't mean that they are prepared to do it. And no matter how much they talk, they'll always go down. Like, they're literally a couple of weeks away from going down as the biggest bottlers in Premier League history. And some of these players have been a part of more than one team that has been looked at in that vein. So I just don't really think that, you can escape it. And I think that's because I was talking to my mom the other day. My mom's a huge Arsenal fan. And she was like, and she's usually really positive. She was like, I just don't know how they recover from this. And I'm like, they don't, because at this point, you are the biggest bottlers. Nobody believes in you anymore. And nobody believes in this manager. And so, yeah, it's like I haven't learned anything new, but it's just set in stone, things that have been creeping in probably since the 22-23 season. Gave them a little pass for that 23-24 season. Is, do they have what it takes to get over the line? And I think as an institution, they don't. They don't. We have completely new players, a deep team, completely different circumstances. We're not playing against the treble winners. And for some reason, we've allowed City to get into a position to overtake us in a one
strike when the enemy was weak.
Yeah. So, yeah, I haven't learned anything new. It's just set some things like that they just won't be able to get away from it. I know people will still have excuses like, well, we didn't have this player, and I already seen, oh, so and so and so and so and so and so have only played together twice. It's like I can already see you guys. You're getting your little receipts together of, yeah, but we never played these players together, and these players were injured. I'm not trying to hear all that.
So then you need mitigating factors. You need an alternative. Like Kai Havertz, Ben White, and obviously Saka and Odegaard and all them guys on the right. We know they've got injuries, and yes, there's an element of that is harsh, but you need to have alternatives. That's the whole thing. We've
Yeah.
seen injuries, like even some of the best results across the last 2 to 3 years have been achieved without us having on paper the best 11. We knew that's why everyone's saying we got the depth to go over the line of things. These are factors. There's obviously relevance to the story, but we're at the point, and I'm sure Jess would agree. We hear that we're past that. It's about getting over the line,
Got to get
regardless.
it
Now
over the line,
there's too
and
much
there's
lived experiences,
yeah,
bro.
yeah. It's just too many mitigating circumstances, and even when you have
It's bottom
everything
line
going
now.
your way, you still can't get it done, so there's something missing, um and they got to figure out what that is. But I'd probably start right at the tippy top, because ultimately there's no way that you can look at this team that's been built in Arteta's image and preclude him from from what's happening. You can't just set him
You
to the
get the
side and
praise,
say,
you
this
get the
guy's a
criticism.
genius. Let's look at everyone else. I'm seeing lists of 8, 9 players that got to go. I'm like, let's start at the top. Let's look at the manager. Let's look at him, because he's the only thing that hasn't changed.
Just they don't rate him
Um,
as much as they claim. Because if you rated the gaffer, you want to, we see all of the statistics that reflect that we're a competitive team. It was about becoming a great team, getting some greatness, getting paid, getting something that's going down in history. We know about the fact that, all right, cool, big you up, 2 semi-finals now in 140 years of our history. We have shown consistency to be second. You've got to the latter stages of competitions. You have made us competitive. But you just might not be that guy, and there's nothing wrong with it. If you really rate the gaffer, which I do think you're one of the best in the Prem. I do think once you exclude like the Pep Guardiolas, the Luis Enriquez, all them kind of man, they step below. You're part of that. But if we believe that and believe these players, we can't keep coming up with excuses. The manager said coming into the season, you've seen what we've done with 3 years. We now need to do it on the 4th time. You saw him talk about I need to earn a contract. We've all seen Saliba and all of these players talk about winning trophies, and the players obviously have to take responsibility. But whatever way you shape it, there's been many different circumstances. It has to fall on the gaffer. The gaffer hasn't become something. Even if I look at Lewis, because you mentioned it, yeah, you mentioned PSG, and I'll mention City, yeah. I'm not asking you to be PSG. I'm not asking you to be Manchester City. You're definitely not Pep Guardiola. You're definitely not Luis Enrique. Luis Enrique does what you do, but it's on steroids. He gives you, there's 10 tasks to win a game. He makes sure his team do 9. On the last one, he says, you know what? I know I need my fullbacks to do this and my wingers to do that. I'm going to let you lot play free. You see the fullbacks from them teams on the same side. I look at Pep Guardiola, the exact same. If there's 3 players, yeah, very different. But you look at Pep Guardiola's philosophy. On paper, regardless of how good Haaland is, that's not a Pep Guardiola striker. Donnarumma's not a Pep Guardiola goalkeeper. And Ryan Cherky, on
yeah,
paper, isn't one of their players. But they have found a way to make it work. And you haven't. This is why I don't want to hear about it's his players and things. We're still talking about the same conversations. Even
yeah,
looking at Kai Havertz against City. You actually think you played well, bar the obvious. You summed up Kai Havertz. The goal he scored is a Kai Havertz kind of goal. You can do the system kind of stuff. When we need you to be decisive, you can't do it. And at some point, I can't criticizing the players. We
yeah,
can't take squad players and then be surprised that they do well, but they don't get us over the line. He has lived experiences, obviously, in the last 3 years, 4, including this. You've been at Manchester City and in the tail end of a season. Obviously, I can't just blame you for injuries, but we keep finding ourselves for whatever reason in this. And we came into the season with a lot of injuries. Bearing in mind, Kai Havertz has had 2 hamstring ones, has been stop-start. It's all your fault. And then it leads me to ask you this, just like this, big up the super chat. I need to see these players with another coach. Where do you stand on that? Do you think like another coach could obviously win this league? Because I was having this conversation with my friend. Beyond the obvious, yeah, I think forget the Liverpool Klopp that obviously won the Premier League and was fighting 90 points and he didn't win it, yeah. I think if the guy, if Jurgen Klopp at Dortmund came to Arsenal now with this squad, I think he gets over the line. I genuinely think he gets it over the line. For whatever reason, I think he gets it over the line. Like, so then it leads me to ask this, like, are you at the point where you need to see these players with another coach? Are you open to it? How do you think that pans out?
yeah, and I think so. I'm just,
It's long now,
but
though.
I was saying this probably like 2 years ago.
You was
I'm just like, I think my last like let's give it another go with Mikel was I was so disappointed in that one summer window where we just got Calafiori Marino. I was like, this is just ridiculous, you know. But after last season, I definitely was like, we definitely need a new manager. There's no way that you just do 3 times and you still don't get it over the line. Like, there's just no way. Anything by that, you know. But at the same time, it's just like I just hate the conversations that come around Mikel and moving him on, because people are not going to support a new manager because they put their flag down in the sand with Mikel for some reason. And it's just like, I don't get what he's done for you guys to be so enamored with him. I was down with giving him time, because you need to give him time. And really,
I fuck with
after,
him, but he's not bigger than the system.
yeah, because I wanted him out after he was playing Willian, and we were like in 12th or something like that. And I was like, he done lost the dressing room. And then he started playing Saka and Emil Smith Rowe, and we improved. And it's like, cool. Between that time and the 22-23 season was like 2 seasons. And then it was like, okay, when are we going to start win things? So there's been like kind of like a this with him. But ultimately, what it comes down to for me is like, I don't think the players are inspired by you. And I don't think that they're ever going to be the types of players that fully go like down tools, because they're
They
nice
might just
boys.
need new voices.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, they're going to